It's time to spill the tea.
Hello!
You there, and welcome to
A Spoonful of Theatre! And this is another one of our Spill the Tea Theatre Review podcasts, where we review a piece of local theatre right outside the theatre foyer. I'm TJ, theatre practitioner and director.
And I'm Sam, a teacher of language, literature, and self-proclaimed show business lovey. And TJ, where are we right now?
We are right outside the Esplanade Theatre because, oh my god, you guys, we just watched Legally Blonde, the musical!
Yes, now, a lot of our fans, you've been asking us, where are you two? Why have you not reviewed this yet? It's because we've been on holiday.
Yes, sorry.
And we are actually reviewing this in its final weekend.
Yes.
So it's only got, 3 shows left now. But we are so glad that we've got the chance to see it because we've been keeping tabs on the socials and the response to it has just been simply amazing.
I've had such FOMO, honestly. I mean, obviously I've loved my holiday and everyone's probably also FOMO about my holiday. But like the show, I've been dying to see the show.
Yes.
Because full disclosure, this is one of my favorite musicals. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. It really is. I was musical director for a kids version of it a few years ago, and I've just fell in love with it. So I must say, straight off, I came in with very high expectations, knowing the show inside out. But seeing the response, I've just been so excited to see it. And as you can tell, I mean, I've loved it. I've loved it.
Yes.
It's been great.
Also, some full disclosure from me, I have never seen this musical.
Okay, but have you seen the movie?
No.
What? Oh my god, you guys!
No.
What?
However, I am well aware of its story and its reputation. But the expectations were high for me for the simple reason that it's a stellar local cast.
Absolutely.
With some really big names, including the wonderful Nathaniel Ong. And so I was going in with very high expectations. So should we jump into this?
Let's do it.
What have we seen? Where should we start?
We have to start with the show itself. Legally Blonde the musical. I reckon, actually, quite a lot of people, before they came to the show, probably went, oh, Legally Blonde, that, like, chick flick girly movie on stage. Like, why are SRT producing this, like, on such a big scale? Because the show itself is a masterclass in musical theatre writing, in composing, in storytelling. It is just a blooming good time in the theatre.
I quite agree. Do you know what? Usually with a lot of musicals that I've seen, the first act is the better act than the second. In this one, the second act was just amazing. Like one song after another, choreo, performance, character building, character relationships. But throughout the entire show, the energy level was so consistently high. Funny, heart. Oh, it was just marvelous.
Yeah, no, the show itself is amazing. And it is a huge risk for SRT. And I think I've really got to shout that out because the Esplanade is expensive.
Yes,
it is one of our most expensive theatres to produce work. And to take over it for 3 weeks with such a big cast, with such an international team on it as well, the size of the set you have to put on that stage, it is a huge risk. And thank you to SRT for taking a risk and putting such a big musical on and proving that Singaporeans can do Broadway musicals just as well as Broadway.
Yes.
Like, absolutely.
Yes.
Now, I think into the next few sections, I'll be honest, I have had the best time, and I want to preface it right now to say that I have had the most amazing time, and I could not be more proud of our local cast on the stage. However, I still have some notes about various things, because it wouldn't be me if I didn't. So before we even get into the notes, I have still loved the show, okay? So I'm kind of really nitpicky about this.
Sure.
But just because of the show itself, okay?
Fine,
so I want to say that before we even start.
Okay.
So next up, I think we have to go to the cast.
Yes.
We do have to go to the cast.
As I say, it was stellar casting. So starting with Nathania, she carried that show. She really just powered through playing Elle. And where I would love to give some real credit to her is doing it in the high heels. Like I've worn high heels a couple of times where I've done pantomime or something like that.
Ooh la la.
I've died in 5 minutes. Nathania really, really brought it and gave such an excellent performance in those heels, in those costumes. She was Elle Woods, brilliant. Really, really, really enjoyed her performance.
So Nathania, for me, this role itself is a really well-written lead role. It's a star vehicle casting. She hardly leaves the stage. So absolutely, my hat off to anyone that does the role of Elle Woods. It is super, super hard. However, my note for Nathania is at times it felt a little bit too heavy.
Okay.
So Elle Woods is this kind of bright, bubbly, airy head character, and especially in Act 1, I don't feel we found the kind of lighter side of Elle.
Okay.
And I know that especially as we start staging musicals in 2026, there is a tendency to step away from the kind of what would have maybe a few years ago been the bimbo role.
Right.
And giving women empowerment and showing more depth to that. However, this character is written in a certain way, and you can't necessarily add too many more things. You can't give her more depth, because then you lose the innocence that she has, especially in Act 1. So I did feel at times that it was a bit too heavy.
Okay.
But her vocals were incredible.
Yes, entirely.
Could not fault the vocals. I think the one small note is it kept coming into a bit of a frown when we were singing. And when we're singing a happy song, quite often the face didn't quite beam with joyousness.
Okay.
Which again kind of just took me out of the Elle a little bit at times. But incredible performance. Nathania is so skilled, and I think great for her to kind of stretch her flexibility, because she's known for the Les Mis and the kind of big heavy roles.
Yes,
so I
right,
think
right.
really great to give an actress a big stretch as well.
I thoroughly enjoyed Ben Chow playing opposite her as Emmett. The song in particular, sorry, forgive me.
Chip on my shoulder.
Take it like a man.
Take it like a man.
I thought that was brilliant. Nathania and Ben, you really sold that. It was really, really lovely to see that connection build between you both. That pushes the relationship later down the line. Any other standout performances for you?
I think for me, I'm going to come to some other supporting characters in the form of the trio that supports Elle, her best friends. So you've got Serena, Pilar, Margot by Nadia, Victoria, and Attica. As a three, you brought that girly energy that I was craving, that I felt like I was missing a little bit from Nathania, that kind of was brought in from you three. And I think Attica and Victoria, this is their first show out of La Salle. And
Right.
girls, you
Well done.
absolutely nailed it. It just hit exactly where it should have been. So those maybe are not people that might stand out to other people, but I was drawn to them straight away.
I want to give a massive, massive shout out to Pierre and to City as Carl and Paulette. They didn't have many scenes, but anytime they were on stage, they really, really stole the show. Bend and Snap was just amazing. And I just loved watching the two characters interact. They're beautiful, beautiful characters. In fact, a lot of the supporting cast just did so well.
I think the final thing on the casting is the ensemble just absolutely worked troopers.
Yes.
They really
Yes.
worked so well together. Some amazing character energy. Great teamwork and the variety as well. There was such a mix of performers, and there was kind of people from different kind of realms of Singapore musical theatre that they put together, which I really enjoyed as well. It does take me into a note on the creative side as a nice little segue there. So Legally Blonde is probably one of the hardest triple threat musicals, because every single person has to be a killer singer, a killer actor, and a killer dancer.
Yes.
So as musical theatre starts to develop in Singapore, actually one of the things we're still developing is true triple threats. And to be able to get a cast of true triple threats, quite often when we're casting, we have to cast either singer-actors or dancers with one of the other skills. There are a few in Singapore, but there's still not as much a whole cast to be able to do that. So what that means is, from a creative aspect, the choreographer or the director or the musical director, somebody has to make some compromises.
Right.
Where I feel this show made its compromises was in the dancing.
Okay.
The dancing was incredible in terms of its choreography, but a lot of the cast are not the kind of top level dancer.
Okay.
That, for example, when we did Cabaret a few years ago, we focused on the dancers because that was very much a dance musical.
Right,
so
right,
the
right.
level of technique and the level of dancing that the choreographer is able to put in is at a higher level. So what the choreographer here was able to do was kind of say, okay, I have a cast of majority singer actors that can move, and everyone can move really well, but he's like, okay, we're not going to get them all doing split leaps and kicks because not everybody can do that. So how do I tell the story through acting through dance? So quite a lot of the choreography was really cleverly done to incorporate the skills of the actors that were on the stage. So for me, that was really nice to see, and I thought what it did is I know this show very much as a dance-heavy show from the original, and it gave it a new life in terms of everybody was really focused on telling the story, which was very nice as well. But if you came for the dancing, I think if you were a true dancer, you might have been a bit disappointed without seeing the kind of higher level dancing.
I must admit, I see what you're saying, like it's a very dancey show, because one of the highlights of the show for me was Whipped into Shape. I thought that was brilliant, and a particular shout out to Sandra, because as you say, dance, act, sing, she was having to do all three. And I thought it was a real highlight of the show for me. So yeah, just the choreography and using the skipping ropes, and really
so
well done.
that comes directly from the original,
Right.
and it was done in a very different way in this, and I really enjoyed that because I know the original very well, and I really enjoyed what Simon, the choreographer, did with that as well. Again, to incorporate the level of the cast and the people that they had. So just hats off to everybody for doing that, and it takes a lot of stamina as well.
Costume.
Yes.
The costumes just really complemented the show. They were really well made. I mean, considering the topic and the theme of the show, if you had not done costumes right, it would have collapsed, I would have thought. And what Nathania was wearing was stunning, absolutely stunning. That long pink checkered coat, I want it. It was beautiful. But the other characters, were really lovely costumes. Wigs now, considering the show is about hair, I think wigs could have been done a little bit better. Particular Vanessa's bob.
Yes.
That was a little bit distracting for me, because she was giving such a wonderful performance. I don't think the hair matched the actress, in my opinion. So hair, bit of a mixed bag there.
I must say, very glad that that the Elle Woods wig was fixed from the poster to the real life.
Yes.
The poster wig versus the stage wig is a world apart.
Yes.
I think going off of the costumes, which takes me into some of the direction. So I think some of the direction for the costume was kind of modernizing it a little bit, because this show actually came out, I think I've forgotten the date, but it was quite a few years ago. So they've kind of updated it a little bit and kind of set it in modern times, a lot more phones, a few little modern tweaks and references, but not too much, which was really nice. It was just enough to kind of feel like it was a now show, but not kind of shoehorning in 2026, which was really nice. But what I did like is in the costumes, what I think that Kate, the director, had obviously discussed is kind of bringing in that kind of element of like K-pop element into the costumes, which really made the girls very kind of modern and chic, and especially for an Asia context, because this is not a naturally Asian show.
Quite.
But for an Asian cast, how do we kind of merge those two worlds? And I think that was a really clever use of that.
Yes, quite.
And really kind of shows, I think, overall what Kate has done, and really the director really understood her cast, really understood the storytelling, the flow, the use of space. I really liked the staging throughout the show.
The set was huge.
It was.
And my goodness, you as a cast going up and down those stairs, up and down, Nathania in your heels, up and down the stairs.
Many
up
of them
and
in
down.
the heels, crazy.
Brilliant. And what I did like, I mean, it was a large cast, and with some of the numbers, like particularly There Right There, the entire space was used, and I really enjoyed it, and it just made it into a spectacle, and I really loved that stage.
I do, and I think initially when I was looking at some of the photos, I was a little bit like, ooh, because truly, this show goes through so many different locations. So when you're designing a set, when it's only on for 3 weeks, we don't have the luxury like they do in Broadway to build big sets for every location. So in Broadway, they build the sets and then you can fly them in. That's too expensive in Singapore for a few weeks. So the creative use of that kind of staircase and the lighting and the projections and the few prop pieces and those kind of extra props that came in really helped tell the scene and set the stage. Like the creative use of the staircase in the classrooms, really nice kind of touches. I did think sometimes, though, the size of the stairs distracted me because they were pegging it down those stairs so many times. And there was a few scenes, like, for example, the trailer park, where they were on top, where we first met the kind of husband. And then suddenly the dog appears from below, and it kind of just took me away from the character journeys. So I know why we need to use it, but I think because of the height, it was a challenge, and I'm sure that's something they had to try and overcome. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but it didn't ruin the show for me.
I have to say, this is the first time I've been to a show where live animals are involved.
Yes.
And those two little dogs, I'm sorry, I don't know their names, but they were cute as hell.
There's actually a cast of multiple dogs, because legally they're not allowed to have the dogs do so many shows.
Fair enough.
So there's a whole cast of dogs.
So kudos to the dogs.
So yes, well done to all the dogs.
Let's go into the songs now, the music. What did you think?
Oh, do you know what was lovely? It was a lush band. SRT have not skipped on the musicians. The sound was great. The guys in the pit, they were pumping that sound into the theatre as well, which was really nice. However, at times the music was drowning out the singing, especially in the ensemble numbers. So as soon as the band were at full pelt, the ensemble were at full pelt, I felt we lost the lead vocal line. So at times we lost some of the storytelling because the sound leveling didn't quite bring out those lead vocal lines at certain times. Really nitpicky thing. But there were some really important moments where we didn't hear the words because it was drowned out.
They were epic numbers, and the music was played epically, and I really, really appreciated that. I think if it had been a pared down orchestra, I think it would have taken away from the spectacle and the epicness of those numbers. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, as you know by now, when TJ and I go and see a musical, we always give it a rating out of 5 spoonfuls, but we never reveal how many spoonfuls we are going to give until that moment has come, and that moment is now. Are you ready, TJ?
Ready.
So for SRT's Legally Blonde here at the Esplanade, 1, 2, 3, 5. Yay!
Oh, 10 out of 10.
Yes, well done.
Perfect
well
score.
done. For me, very, very easy. For one simple reason. This show from the very beginning says, we want you to have fun.
Yes.
And the audience in response say, we also want to have fun. I mean, the audience there, they really responded. They were gasping. They were laughing. I was chuckling all the way through. I was smiling all the way through. And the audience was awash with pink. Yeah. So there was real love for it, but more so from the production side, from the cast side. They just said to us, we want you to enjoy this. And it was throughout the show so high energy. Loved it.
For me, I just could not be more proud that this is what Singapore musical theatres can produce. And it is truly Singaporean. So even those notes that we gave earlier, because, you know, I think there's a tendency to say a 10 out of 10 show is perfect. I feel very Singaporean right now. You got 10 out of 10, but I've still got notes. But it's one of those things that it's like, it was how we feel. It was an amazing show. The audience cannot leave the show without a big smile on their face. And it is just a true testament to the talent and the creativity. I would, as a little challenge to SRT and any of the other theatre companies, I would like to start seeing a show like this where you don't bring in an overseas creative team. That's my little challenge. The creatives are amazing, and I've got nothing against that, but we are proudly saying that the whole cast are all Singaporean. But can we take a risk and let's bring up some of our Singaporean creatives to be able to do a level of show like this as well? That's that I lay down the gauntlet to you, SRT, and anybody else who wants to take it on.
Nice. Okay. Right, my tea's on call, love. Shall we leave it there?
Let's.
So that's some cheerio from us. We'll be back soon.
And it's a raw from me.
And to the cast and crew of Legally Blonde.
And to anybody else performing in Singapore Theatre, break a leg.
I also want to give a very, very big shout out.
Shout out!
Right.
I'm cutting that one.
I also want to give a massive shout out. Oh!